All right. Welcome, everybody, to Power 10 Sports Talk. We are doing our NFL award show this week. This week, it'll be your host, Andrew Gibb. And joining me this week, our Panthers fan, you got to love him, John Sacco. The Browns fan that's finally not suffering, Brady Gibb. And my fellow Colts fan, Ryan McVicker.
I'm a man of many teams.
Oh, yeah. I think John just is like, oh, I like them. Why? Come on, they're an underdog.
Come on, they're them, you know?
Yeah.
Can't root against them.
But yeah, for our award show, we are going to kind of change it up from what the standard is with everyone else. We're going to do one for the AFC and one for the NFC. No unanimous for anything. Just figured as a way to kind of give more detail into, it could be between these two guys, but we don't want to kind of pick somebody because somebody else is just as talented and they might be just a smidge better. So this is our way of doing it. If you want to leave in the comments your thoughts on some of them as we go through, we'd love to see it. Remember to leave us a like, give it a share, follow us. We put out content pretty regularly. We're trying to put out more throughout the week, so it'd be really helpful. Everything you guys do helps. Follow the Facebook page, follow the Twitter page. But let's get right into it with our AFC MVP. So the way we're going to do this is myself, John, Brady, and Ryan will go. We'll just give who we have and then give an explanation afterwards and then move on to the NFC and move down our list, but starting with the AFC and moving to the NFC. So for my AFC MVP, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry? I think you got to give it to Patrick Mahomes. I don't think there's really anyone else.
All right, Brady?
Josh Allen.
All right.
I can't. It's literally so bad I can't even pick because you got Patrick Mahomes, who's just so much better than everybody else and is amazing, and then you got Derrick Henry, who just rushed for 2,000 yards. So honestly, either one works.
You got to give us a final answer though. If you had to go between those two.
Yeah, Andrew doesn't like you trying to.
Yeah, don't try and flip flop. I'm done with that shit.
Derrick Henry.
All right. So same reason as Ryan said. 2,000 yards is a tough thing to do. I think only 8 players have done it in NFL history, starting with O.J. Simpson. And it's not an easy feat to get 2,000 yards in 16 games, especially whenever you are playing a team like Indy, you are playing a team like Cleveland, you are playing teams with really good defenses that will try and stop you up. But the man is a Volkswagen bus. It's get off the tracks to get out of the way. That's my rationale. John, your rationale for picking Patty Mahomes?
I think Patrick Mahomes is so good. He has the Super Bowl, and he's better than last year. I said last week I think the Chiefs as a team are a little worse, but Patrick Mahomes has taken another leap. He has 2019, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4,000 yards. This year, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, same, 4,700 yards.
That's really
insane. 4,700 yards. 12 more touchdowns in one more interception.
And I think in less games too, right?
In less games.
Yeah, so there's a really good case there. Brady, why don't you take Josh Allen?
Well, honestly, I think he's equally as great as Patrick Mahomes because, Patrick Mahomes, he can throw on the run. So can Josh Allen. Josh Allen probably has the better arm than him and can run way better than Patrick Mahomes can. So I'm taking Josh Allen.
All right. Fair reasoning. Brady, you want to move your mic a little bit closer? All right. And Ryan, I don't know if you need to give any explanation for yours or if you already covered it.
I mean, really just 2,000 yards and like a lot of running backs. It's their offensive line. And don't get me wrong, the Titans' offensive line is really good, but Derrick Henry made it happen too. That's why it wasn't 1,500, it was 2,000 because he made it happen too, just as much as his offensive line did. So.
Yep. Yeah, very fair point. And then we got the NFC MVP. I'm going with the Rodgers rate, taking Aaron Rodgers with this one. It seems easy.
I'm taking Rodgers as well.
I'm taking Rodgers as well.
And that's unanimous.
All right. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this
might be our only unanimous. You did say no unanimous.
It was insane. Like, Jordan Love, I may have just pushed this man to go to new heights. Yeah, he choked in the NFC Championship. I don't really say he choked. It seemed like it was just a lot of kind of you need more key pieces there before you can be truly successful.
He has key pieces, though. He choked because he didn't run it in for the touchdown.
Yeah.
He chose to pass for no reason into double coverage.
In the field goal.
Yeah.
And the field goal, yeah.
That's on coaching now. But again, throughout the regular season, that man was putting up crazy stats. So I think that's kind of why we.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against the league MVP.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Offensive Player of the Year, starting with the AFC. I got Josh Allen here.
I'm going Travis Kelce.
Wait, so it's Offensive Player of the Year?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
All right.
And I'll go with Patrick Mahomes on that one.
All right. I'm taking Josh Allen. Like Ray said, he was really good. He showed that he has some mobility, and he has a cannon. I know it was an incomplete pass in the AFC Championship, but he was diving out of bounds and just laced a dime to the back of the end zone for 40 yards. I'm like, that is just incredible arm strength that comes down to. In his regular season campaign, he did really well. Josh Allen is really just a great offensive talent that I think any team would want.
I'm going Kelce. He's had the greatest tight end season ever. He leads the league in receptions, yards, and second in touchdowns. He's just a weapon. He makes things happen other people can't. He is, without a doubt, the best tight end in the NFL right now. And this might be an entire show, my all-time rankings. I don't rank people I haven't seen, didn't watch, so I'm not going to rank like Shannon Sharp, but it's Gates, Gonzalez, and Kelce. Those three.
All right. You're not going to have Gronk in there?
He's 4.
All right.
Kelce better than Gronk.
All right, Brady.
Patty is just, I don't know, just Patrick Mahomes. If you can make 2 back-to-back Super Bowls like Tom Brady, you could be one of the best of all time. So.
Yeah, it is an impressive feat.
And if you go up against him and beat him, then you might just be better. Plus, you're the younger QB in the situation.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Ryan?
He's making it happen, and like that offense is stacked. That's really what the soul of that team is. Like, you don't notice that team for its defense, you notice that team for its offense, and he's the center of that offense. And honestly, I think if you take him out of the equation, that team isn't nearly what it is. There's still a lot of key pieces. There's still some good parts to it. Don't get me wrong, but in all reality, I think you take him out of the equation, that team is pretty much nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know about nothing, but
I don't think
you're right. They're not
good,
at the Super Bowl.
They'd be a playoff team. I don't think they'd be a Super Bowl team.
I think they'd be as good as the Browns are now.
Yeah, with Chad Henne.
All right, so next up we got our NFC Offensive Player of the Year. I'm putting Dalvin Cook here.
Dalvin Cook won me a lot of fantasy games, but I got to give it to Devontae Adams.
All right.
Tom Brady.
I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara.
All right. Dalvin Cook,
That's a good one.
He was the one saving grace for the Vikings, and that's why I got to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you
give
it to him,
the one?
That team maybe wins 1 or 2 games. Dalvin Cook really carried them with an amazing rushing games to some wins that I don't think that they could have gotten without him. So I'm going to give him Offensive Player of the Year. I think if he leaves and goes to a better team, they could be unstoppable. I think if Minnesota also finds a new quarterback, they could be a lot better. But yeah, Dalvin Cook was the thing that made the Vikings any chance of winning.
I gave it to Devontae Adams. He's the touchdown leader. He's a big part of why Rodgers had his great season. Rodgers, he hasn't played with many first-round talents. Devontae Adams is, I think it's the second first-round receiver he's ever played with in his 15-year career. So 17 touchdowns, that's leads the league. I don't think you can give it to anyone else.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, greatest of all time. Might as well made how many Super Bowls and still has a. Andrew, didn't you find that statistic?
This is number 10. He has in his career been to 50% of his career. There's a 50% chance he makes it to the Super Bowl. Higher than Steph Curry making a 3. Steph Curry's chance of making a 3.
So that's why I picked Tom Brady.
All right. And his stats, they're really good. 40 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, 4,700 yards.
Yeah, I can understand.
Those are great quarterback numbers. And how old is he? 43? What's this year? Like
43.
20?
Yeah,
this is 20th year.
20, yeah.
I picked Alvin Kamara because he's going into a Saints team that still has a lot of pieces, just I guess just not with as strong as a wide receiver core, because I know there's a lot of talk about, like, is Michael Thomas good or bad? Like, don't get me wrong, he's really good. He's good at what he does. But, like, he runs a lot of the same routes, I'm sure.
Slant boy.
Yeah, he's a slant boy.
Slant boy.
And, like, there's not as strong as a wide receiver core outside of that. You got an offensive line, which, as far as I know, is at least doing decent, not bad, not good, old, young, whatever. They're just doing all right. And then you got a quarterback who's giving everything he's got, but it's just not exactly the same. If he had the same ambition, the same strength, the same game knowledge he had as if he did a few years ago, he wouldn't have just won one Super Bowl. He's given it everything he's got, and he's trying to make that one last final push. And I think Kamara really put the pieces together for that team and made it happen when nobody else could.
Yeah,
I like Kamara because that 6 touchdown game.
Yeah, I would say the Christmas game definitely makes a great case for it.
Yeah, in my fantasy championship, it was just over after that. Honestly, like
I knew what cost me my fantasy championship was Kamara's 6 touchdowns.
Insane, but I mean, what a talent to help Breeze in his final years. When if no one's open, you can check it down to Kamara and probably get a first down.
He just made it happen.
At least got a first down.
All right. So next up, we got our Defensive Player of the Year, starting with the AFC. I'm taking Xavier Howard.
That's a really good one. It was between him or TJ Watt for me, sacks leader.
All right, so who
Myles
you going
Garrett.
with?
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with Xavier Howard as well.
All right. Yeah, this man was just an amazing corner this year. I think he led the league in interceptions.
He did.
And that's a great stat to hold as a corner. And it was just one that I think Miami is – I don't know what they're missing. They're a great team. Brian Flores did a great job with his team. I don't know
if they're missing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they just need a year to gel.
What are they missing? Nobody knows. But Xavier Howard was one of
maybe an elite running back
of that team, I think. That's just in my opinion. Xavier Howard was just, I think, something that really kind of made that defense as good as what it was. Van Noy was another great part of it. But yeah, it's just one that it's just a tough stat to look past with 10 interceptions for 77 yards. No sacks, which is something that some people look for in a corner, but I mean, just being able to decrease the amount of yards they're able to get off of you. 20 passes deflected. This man was the best corner in the league, hands down. And I think that is why I give it to him. And it's one, I think there are a lot of great defensive players that are on the line, but Xavier Howard just seemed to be that exceptional guy that wasn't a line in a year of great defensive linemen.
Yeah, I'm giving it to TJ because he had a stat line that looked like prime JJ. He had 17 sacks, that leads the league, and he was just a difference maker on that Steelers defense, which was elite, very good for the first couple.
For the first 11 games.
First 11 games. And even on the back end of the season, that defense was still good. It's just that the offense could not keep up.
Yeah, your offense couldn't help your defense out as much as you would want it to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brady?
I'm just taking Myles Garrett because this year he had 12 sacks and still beat Steelers, I hate the Steelers, so. And let's see, how many did he have in the postseason?
I don't think he had any in the postseason. But yeah, Myles Garrett, with games missing, still had an impressive stat line. So yeah, I can understand taking Myles Garrett. Ryan?
I mean, you pretty much summed up everything because, you don't, when you think of the Miami Dolphins, I'm not, the most into the NFL, but when you think of the Miami Dolphins and you go, okay, well, who are the stars in their team, period, the first one that probably comes to your mind is the fact that Xavier Howard is on that team, and he's really, who I think pulls that defense together. So, and you summed up everything else that I could even say about it.
All right. Sorry for stealing all your thunder there. All right, next up, we got NFC Defensive Player of the Year. I'm taking Aaron Donald.
I'm also going Aaron Donald. This might be another unanimous.
Yeah. Brady?
Aaron Donald.
Ryan?
Aaron Donald.
The man is unstoppable. He's built like a brick house. The man doesn't have a neck. It's just all traps.
The man is just a monster, yeah. I think I'm not going to switch mine, but just honorable mention since we're unanimous. I would say Jair Alexander.
Yeah, my honorable mention probably would be Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey went off this year.
That Rams defense was very good.
Yeah.
Another good one too is Budda Baker.
Yeah, that is one I think a lot of people slept on. He did put up very impressive stats.
He did almost better than Jamal Adams. I think he kind of did do better.
Jamal Adams is more of a tackling safety, and I think that's something that ends up almost overriding his. He had no interceptions. Well,
coverage ability. Yeah.
He usually pressures the QB more than he does drop back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all in agreement. Aaron Donald. Brady, do you have an honorable mention that you'd like to bring up?
It's kind of hard. Well, what's maybe the rookie from the Panthers?
Jeremy Chin.
Jeremy Chin. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, okay.
He was one that I thought was very much a breakout.
I would say defensive rookie of the year for the NFC.
Yeah, if we were going to do defensive and offensive rookies, 100% I would have him up. But
he made a very good case as a rookie for defensive player of the year. That one sequence where he had 2 fumble return touchdowns.
Yeah, which I don't remember. Was that a single game?
That was a single game.
And yeah, that's insane.
I believe consecutive drives.
I don't know if it was a drive apart. It was very close, maybe the same quarter or the same half.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to our next stat, rookie of the year for the AFC. I'm taking Justin Herbert, breaks the touchdown record. I don't know who else you could take from the AFC for the rookie of the year.
I'm also going Justin Herbert. I'm surprised. I'll let them go first.
Yeah. All right, Brady.
JT, Jonathan Taylor.
All right.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go with Justin Herbert. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm surprised you didn't do Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. I almost took him too, but Herbert was just that exceptional that Jonathan.
I actually have Taylor written down and crossed out for Herbert.
Yeah, had Herbert had a slightly worse year, 100%, it's Jonathan Taylor. He is the new running back for the Colts. He's looking really good. He could be the next next star rusher they have.
Not a lot of weapons. They have Keenan Allen, and their next is
it's Keenan Allen and
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler isn't a bad running back.
I was saying who's their wide receiver too. Austin Eckler is great. He won me some fantasy games too.
But the way they run their offense is very much even run plays or passes. So I think that does help him out.
In a not a great coach's system, you know?
Yeah, a coach
they lost a lot of close
time.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't know clock management. Is
just
losing
lost
a
their
lot of
franchise
close games.
Just lost their franchise QB,
and they might have stumbled on their next.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why a lot of us took him. Brady, what was your rationale for taking Jonathan Taylor?
I don't know, just great running back, probably better than most of them.
One of the key pieces in a very good
coach
team.
Yeah.
They found
one
a
piece.
future running
One more
back.
piece the Colts need is a quarterback, and then they're set. They'll probably be a good team in the next couple years.
Yeah, that's something that, even though this is a little off the rail, the AFC is going to be scary if the Colts can get Matthew Stafford and Deshaun Watson, and the Browns can get some linebackers. You now have 4 teams that all could win a Super Bowl that have to try and play their way in, and 3 don't make it and could be better than a lot of the NFC teams.
I'm sure even the Colts could they could even wait till draft night and they could be sitting on their pick and say, hey, we'll let another team have this pick and give me your quarterback, or we'll pick something from the class. If there's something good enough from the quarterbacks that are left, they could pick something from the draft.
Yeah.
Even.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett's too bad where they can't
Brissett's a free agent.
hold him out.
That's the issue.
Oh, you're right.
Brissett's a free agent. Philip Rivers is retired. So either Jacob Easton steps up and
LASIK Jameis.
That could be possible. But yeah, so next up we got the NFC Rookie of the Year. I'm going with Chase Young on this.
I'm going Justin Jefferson.
Brady?
Chase Young.
All right, Ryan?
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I figured we'd be split because I did have Justin Jefferson as my number 2. But just Chase Young, he was such a disruptor in a lot of the games that Washington did end up winning that it was tough to bet against him. Justin Jefferson is a very close number 2. Part of me says don't give it to him after the comments where he's saying he's a top 5 wide receiver in his rookie season and saying he's better
I mean,
than.
is he wrong though?
He's saying he's better than D Hop and DK Metcalf, and that's something.
DK has 2. He's better than DK. Easy.
I would say he's better than DK.
DK
but
has
you're better
too
than
many
DeAndre
drops
Hopkins.
for me to say him top 5.
I couldn't put him above DeAndre Hopkins though. That's where my issue is. But yeah, he is a very close number 2. I think a better QB definitely would have had me switch it. Kirk Cousins is the thing that killed Justin Jefferson's pick for me taking Rookie of the Year. Either he had great numbers, a good quarterback suddenly bumps his numbers up probably double. So I'm going to go with Chase Young, just a true disruptor on that Washington defense.
So you're penalizing him because he's too good.
Kirk Cousins is punishment enough that I think that's one of the reasons I was like, yeah, Kirk Cousins is the reason I can't give it to him. You are doing good with a bad quarterback, but
you're not punishing him for overrated stats or punishing him for coasting on the success of his quarterback, but you're punishing him because his quarterback is so bad he could have had better stats.
Yes. Essentially,
even though he had great stats.
He had really good stats. I think that you could have had better with a good quarterback, and that's what would have been enough for me to give him Rookie of the Year. I think that's
why I'm giving him Rookie of the Year, because he could have been better. Because he was held back, but despite his quarterback play, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He had probably the greatest rookie wide receiver season of all time.
Since Randy Moss, maybe. He's up there. I think he's up there with Randy Moss with the best rookie season. Brady?
You summed it up. Chase Young, probably one of the better DNs in the league right now. Even saying that he wanted Tom Brady and still almost won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm picking him.
And I went with Justin Jefferson because he broke out. He went off with the Vikings quarterback who is kind of buns. Leave it at that. And just sucks. And he still did as amazing. If he had somebody like freaking Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, another good quarterback in that position, it could have been even crazier than that. And he just went off completely. So,
yeah. All right. Next up, we got Coach of the Year. We'll start with the AFC. This one, I think we might go unanimous again. I'm taking Kevin Stefanski.
Stefanski, I guess.
Stefanski.
Yep.
You brought the Browns back to the promised land. That's all you needed to do to get this title as Coach of the Year for the AFC.
Yeah, I can't think of a better coach to give it to. Someone who he hasn't turned the Browns around because they've been on sort of a coming up, but he got them there somewhere Kitchens couldn't, and no coach before him could.
Yeah. And I think the closest one might have been Sean McDermott. Same thing, a team that has
McDermott, yep.
Not as good, but I think it's their previous success is what helps them out. Is that they have been somewhat successful in the past 2 or 3 years since they've had Josh Allen. So,
Stefanski. Yeah, they've been inching closer and closer, and Tyrod brought them to the playoffs earlier.
Yeah, Stefanski just took that big jump from you got him a winning season and a playoff win, which is something they haven't done since before we were born.
I think an honorable mention for me might be Brian Flores in Miami.
Yeah, that definitely would be my honorable mention with McDermott at third. Brady, anything else to add on?
Just funny how we won a game when he wasn't there in the playoffs.
Yeah.
When he was there, we almost beat the probably going to be Super Bowl winners. Maybe, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is something we need to account for.
that 12-4 season, right?
Yeah.
4 losses. That's probably the least we've had in 10 years.
11-5, yeah.
11-5, 12-5.
Because the Dolphins missed at 10-6 because they were a game behind everyone.
Yep.
Oh. Well, we probably haven't had that many losses in 10 years. So
I'll say we should be 13-3 because that Raiders loss was some.
A little iffy. All right, Ryan, anything else to add on?
And that Jets loss too. We should have been 13-3.
Yeah.
You guys summed it up all for me. I don't have to say anything else.
All right, and the NFC Coach of the Year, I'm taking Ron Rivera.
Rivera, yes.
Vera.
Kind of like Alex Smith, you're kind of like seen as like a demon child if you don't pick Ron Rivera. So
Yeah, the story of overcoming cancer definitely kind of is like, oh, well, you made it to the playoffs and you had cancer. There's no one else you can give it to.
Taking Washington to the playoffs for the first time since RG3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's all that we need to say. We did talk about it yesterday. Ron Rivera overcoming cancer is great news.
That is some tough leadership to not only bench Haskins, but cut him.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. He wasn't playing well before, but to bench your franchise quarterback and then cut him when that video comes out.
Yeah. And that takes...
He knows how to take control of a locker room and establish a culture.
First-year coach, you have to kind of lay down the law. You're not there to be anyone's friend. I know, I think it was my high school soccer coach my first 3 years. He was super strict, but kind of... It was one of those ones where you grew to respect him and then you got to be his friend. And some coaches do the opposite where they're like, time to be everyone's friend and then try and be a coach. And you don't have the authority. And I think Ron Rivera did the right thing. And obvious coach of the year. I don't know who I would give an honorable mention to for the NFC.
Arians, first-year coach in the Super Bowl. But I think Rivera, even though the NFC East was awful and 6 wins got him to the playoffs, I think it's still a very good story.
Yeah. Anything else to add on?
Nope.
I'd even say an honorable mention back to the NFC is just Andy Reid because he's a dog.
Oh, yeah.
He just doesn't care about anything. He went on 4th and 1 in shotgun with a backup QB. Man does not care about anything. And when he was asked last year after I know this is last year, but after the Super Bowl last year, he was asked what he was going to do, and he said he was going to go eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for the cooks in Tampa next weekend, having to cook for Bruce Arians and Andy Reid.
It's going to be a heyday.
Tom Brady's playing at home at a Super Bowl.
That doesn't matter. We're just talking about how much his head coach is going to be feasting on, whether in Tampa.
Someone say Thanksgiving again?
Yeah. All right, so next up, we got our disappointment of the year. Our criteria for this just kind of was somebody that just had high expectations and kind of let you down, whether it be in fantasy, whether it just be kind of what they were set forth to be as a player by the organization, different things. For the AFC, I'm taking the Houston front office. The 2020 season, you shit the bed as much as you could. It's just throw the sheets in the trash. No need salvaging them. You traded D-Hop for a second rounder and a washed running back. You've pushed your 2 other star players out of this city. You are the disappointment of the year, possibly of the century.
It breaks my heart to say this, but Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He's also playing on a crap offense.
That's true.
Buddy, who are you taking for your disappointment?
Mike Tomlin went 11-0 and then lost 5 straight games.
No, he didn't.
4.
He beat the Colts. He beat the Colts in the middle of it.
Okay, yeah, he won 1-5.
Yeah, I went 1-5 in a span.
1-5. And then you lost your first playoff game to a team that has a 1.
Yeah, you lost to the Red.
That went 0-16 2 years ago.
And you did not look. You had no life in that playoff game either. It wasn't just a loss; it was a crushing loss.
It was an ass beating.
You lost to a coach that wasn't even there.
Yep, you got coached by a
Yeah.
special teams coordinator.
Ryan, your coach or your disappointment of the year?
It's hard to argue with a lot of things you guys are saying, but I think the biggest one really is Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. That's
you guys really went in on New England there.
Yeah, I'm saying Bill Belichick. I'm not blaming this on Newton because that offense was piss poor. Honestly, Brady got out at the right time because if he's throwing to Gunnar Olszewski, I think they win 6 games as well.
Yeah,
I honestly just think like when it comes to like New England, like that's the biggest toss. Like, don't get me wrong, like Bill Belichick could have completely tanked this past year, and Cam Newton's not an amazing quarterback.
But he's still very good, and he made them bad. But Cam Newton, he was still the best rushing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's just like the toss up.
Pure rushing, he's better than Lamar Jackson.
All right,
he just like it was like a toss up. between like who's the real piece of the New England Patriots. Was it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? And
Exactly.
I know that a lot of people were saying Bill Belichick was the reason. He could have very well tanked this year because he knew he was going to be down, so he wanted to do like better in the draft. But like, you got to think you could have done so much better than that.
At no point did they look like they were tanking to me.
Yeah, there was
Bill Belichick is not a guy who
purpose.
believes in tanking.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is something I didn't think of at first, but yeah, that's definitely a contender. All right. So for the NFC, the disappointment of the year, this is going to an entire division for me, the NFC East. What were you doing? Oh my! We had to give you a spot with a losing record. The NFC East, pack up your bags, just go home. You paid Carson Wentz to sit on the bench. You broke Dak Prescott's leg. You had a team with no name, and you trusted Daniel Jones to run the ball. The NFC, disappointment. We should have just eliminated them from the playoffs.
Yep. Mine's also in the NFC East. I'm saying the disappointment was Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's mine also.
Honestly, like, when it comes to what the definition of this is, high expectations and didn't meet it. For me, it was the Arizona Cardinals.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Cliff Kingsbury is not a good coach.
I think, yeah.
He might have a really good system, and he might be a really good quarterback developer and what he needs, but not a head coach. He would look really great as offensive coordinator right now. But
quarterback that's taller than 2 foot tall, you know.
Yeah. Whenever has quarterbacks, it's not a good sign.
Height is an overrated quarterback.
But it's something that does still need to be an aspect, because if you can't see over your offensive line, how are you going to pass this down the field without rolling out?
Who cares if they roll out?
It could be a safety issue. That might be why. I think that's why taller quarterbacks are more better in the pocket, and you see less mobility out of taller quarterbacks. Because you can just hang in the pocket and gun.
I went Wentz for a lot of reasons. One, you're MVP candidate just 3 years ago, and now look where you are. You're on the bench.
You're riding pine
talking
to a
about
rookie.
Being traded. You're getting paid so much money to get ride pine to a rookie. And really, Nick Foles won him that Super Bowl. This is his year. He's dealt with some injuries, so you have Wentz coming back from injury, and you have to prove you still have it after the injury. You have to prove that you're the guy instead of Nick Foles who won him that Super Bowl, and he did neither.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've heard people make the joke Carson Wentz should be Defensive Player of the Year just because of how many interceptions he threw.
Yep.
And yeah, there was no aspect of his game I think people looked at and went, he's doing that right. Stat line, Carson Wentz threw 16 touchdowns with 15 interceptions, sacked 50 times.
Yeah, a lot of this is on offensive line play, but this is a prove-it year for Wentz, and he did not prove a thing other than maybe Jalen Hurts was not a bad pick. I remember clowning that pick, saying, they spent a second on, at best, a Taysom Hill, at worst, your backup quarterback.
Yeah, when you already just paid a guy so much money to be a QB.
I mean, just 3 years ago, remember how bad Browns fans were getting it, saying, you traded out of Wentz. You could have had Wentz. You went with Wentz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a smart pick.
Yeah, we took Myles Garrett instead of Carson Wentz and got clowned on, and now look where the team's – yeah, the Eagles won a Super Bowl, but they also won with Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz. We all kind of agreed the Eagles were the big issue. So next up, we got our last category, the breakout player. We didn't want to designate this to specifically a rookie. It could have been open. Just somebody that just broke those expectations that may have been set forth by them, by the NFL, by fans, by fantasy owners, anything like that. Starting with the AFC, I got Jonathan Taylor.
I'm going Jesse Bates.
Baker Mayfield.
I'm probably going to have to go with Jonathan Taylor as well.
Yeah.
I love the Baker Mayfield pick.
That was one. He did say it to me, and I'm like, oh, I got to take something else, but that's a really good one. I think me and Ryan both as Colts fans getting to have Jonathan Taylor on the team, you're like, man, we got to steal in the second. He was really good out of Wisconsin, but I think whenever he dropped to the second, that bar kind of dropped a little bit. But the man, he has some wheels. I think he was fourth highest in terms of top speed in the NFL. passing Tyreek Hill and just the fastest player on the field. Third or fourth in rushing yards on the season as a rookie. Just overall a great running back that I think Andy is going to savor for the next 5 or 6 years.
I do have an honorable mention, though.
Who would that be?
I hate to say it, but Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool.
Man had
The
great year
Corvette.
by a crap team. Yeah, Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Juju doing his last Corvette dance, sitting on his Corvette.
Especially the first half of his year where he led the league in touchdowns
Exactly.
for a while.
Yeah.
He, like all the Steelers receivers, were plagued by a couple drops at the end of the season, but
Yeah, well,
Claypool
mostly
had a very
Deontay
solid
Johnson,
season.
But
Yeah.
But I'm not giving it to him because he's whiny, he's salty.
Yeah. I think
That's
the
something I don't
Browns
like
are gonna
about
get
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in football, yes, he's
Crushed by
probably
the
one of
Chiefs,
the better
so it's okay.
receivers this year.
All right.
Did we all see where he went on TikTok and he was talking about how he made the practice squad cornerback flinch? It was like a run play, like a draw.
Is that
And, like,
something
you know how Denzel Ward was out and they had to start I don't even remember his name, but he was a practice squad guy who just got called up because of COVID and injuries.
Yeah.
And he's going through the film, like being real serious. He's like, now this is a run play, it's a draw, and I make him flinch right here because he's scared that I'm going to take off. I'm like, okay.
He did exactly what a corner.
You made an
trained to do.
undrafted, yeah, you made an undrafted free agent flinch. Okay. But anyway, getting back to my picks, I picked Jesse Bates because he's a Pro Bowl snub. He had one of the best safety seasons in the AFC, if not the NFL. He was AP All-Pro second team, and he was a real benefit through that Cincinnati defense. He's one of He's one of the pieces that they need to keep a long time. He's a franchise player.
Sorry, Johnny, go.
Oh, I was going to say, like Baker Mayfield, he took a very big step. And I was going to talk a little about Baker while Brady was gone, but he's back.
Yeah.
Let me go about Baker now?
Yep.
All right, so didn't have the greatest year last year. Might have kind of crapped a little bit.
Yeah,
Come back.
that sophomore slump that
Yeah.
everyone said Baker's washed, he's done, draft a new QB now.
Yeah, a lot of
Comes back.
who didn't believe he was a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes back to the
First 2
season.
games of the season didn't do great. Comes back the rest of the year, leads us to the playoffs without your star receiver, and still gets it done.
Yeah, I will.
In the first year with the first coach with the new system,
Yeah.
and not a lot of time to learn that system because of a short
Because
off
of
season,
COVID.
and COVID cutting your practices. Browns had the least
No
amount of
OTAs
practices. Yeah, no
OTAs,
no
preseason
preseason
games. Yeah, you are brand new.
Don't have a lot of time to learn that system.
And yeah, he really thrived. I think 2 of my honorable mentions also from the Colts, DeForest Buckner and Blankenship, both from Pro Bowl snubs, and both of them actually received the votes to be in the Pro Bowl, but were left out. Obviously, we're doing this in place of the Pro Bowl because we're not going to talk about who's going to win Madden, but it's one thing where 2 great guys that had votes to be in the Pro Bowl, both from the Colts, don't get it because random reasons that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and had amazing years. Blankenship looks to be the next big kicker in the NFL, taking over for Vinatieri, which something as a Colts fan, you're like, yes, thank God we don't have to go through the kicker carousel like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And DeForest Buckner, again, a disruptor. He really messed with every QB he went up against.
Back to Baker, one last thing. What really impressed me is the lack of interceptions. He threw 8 on the seasons, with 2 coming through his last 8 games. 19-2 through his touchdown interception through his last 8 games. That's real impressive. And to go from 20 some interceptions, was it 25, 24?
24.
Down to 8. I think that's a big step. And if he can get that even lower into 5, 6, and maybe boost those touchdowns to 30, I think the Browns are in an immeasurably better position for it.
Yeah. And our last category, the breakout from the NFC. I'm going Taysom Hill.
I'm going Brian Burns from the Panthers.
I'm going Aaron Jones, but I'm also going to say Justin Jefferson as well.
All right. And Ryan?
If I'm completely honest, y'all got to talk about it for a second because I really got no idea at this very second.
All right, not a
All right.
problem. I took Taysom Hill. It sounds weird that he didn't do great, but he was a Swiss Army QB to me. He was a guy that just you plug in wherever and he does decent. Breeze gets hurt and they put him in, and he was winning games and looking like a legitimate quarterback. That's why I would give it to him, because he was just supposed to be Drew Brees' backup. Some QB they run at Wildcat, some QB they run at a wide receiver, a kick returner, a punter. He was just kind of plug and play. And he got forced to be just a QB and did a really good job at it. So I'm going to have him be my breakout player for that reason.
That's a good pick. I still don't buy Taysom Hill 100%. I took Brian Burns because this is his second season and he took a massive leap. He has 31 quarterback pressures, 11 quarterback hits. He's one of the coming up on elite pass rushers, 3 forced fumbles. He's another big piece along with Jeremy Chin for that Panthers defense that has not looked good in a while.
After losing Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, he stepped up in the absence of Luke Kuechly.
All right, Brady.
I picked Aaron Jones because it takes an all passing team to maybe even a passing and running team. And I also picked Justin Jefferson because man's a beast. Like,
I try not to pick rookies for this because rookies are commodities, but yeah, I'd like to pick just because he had such a great season.
Yeah, that is something.
You might even beat out Adam Thielen for wide receiver 1 because Thielen didn't do much this year.
Yeah,
but again, a lot of that is because of Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
doing great.
Yeah.
It's tough to have 2 great wide receivers whenever you have.
He stepped into the Stephon Diggs role.
And you have Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, and it's very inconsistent. If you're not playing at 1 o'clock, the man's not going to.
What if Deshaun goes to Minnesota or Stafford to Minnesota?
Either of those options scare me if I'm the NFC North.
All right, I got it. You ready for this?
Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Listen, hear me out. All right.
All right.
He's a really good quarterback. Everybody knows this, but he's been not a decline, not like you're like talking about a graph here. Like, he's not been going like this, but he's been declining. Everybody's thinking he's keep going. All of a sudden, he just popped off out of nowhere and just went crazy. Like, if you're
he was declining to the point where the Packers were grooming a backup.
Yeah,
exactly. And then all of a sudden, he just popped off out of nowhere. So he just broke out completely. It doesn't even have to be, to my definition, it doesn't have to be someone, who didn't have any expectations at all. But, everybody's expecting him to go down. And all of a sudden, it just broke out of nowhere, and he just went nuts. And if
someone that had expectations and went even higher,
yeah,
exactly.
I respect that.
That's why I pick Aaron Rodgers for that.
One more thing about the Packers, sort of unrelated. I applaud them. I respect them for starting to groom a replacement because we see, and not caring about your star quarterback's feelings, because we see what happens to the Steelers right now. We saw what happened to the Patriots. Yeah. They lost their franchise quarterback or are going to lose them, and they have no backup plan.
And even then, they would have, the Patriots could have even had, if Jimmy Garoppolo stayed around, he's, in my opinion, not even really a franchise quarterback. He's somebody who's trying to play a role that shouldn't be playing. He's too big of a role for me. That's not his role. They needed to, for example, the 49ers.
He is a game manager. He's not going to be someone that wins you games.
I do think, though, we definitely look at Jimmy G as somebody that's already busted, that isn't great. But this year, he played maybe 6 games before he got hurt, came back, and just kind of still was rattled and just never could come back really fully 100%. Just a year ago, he was taking a team to the Super Bowl. So I don't think it's
I think that defense won them.
The defense definitely
took them to the Super Bowl.
Is very akin to Joe Flacco getting to the Super Bowl off of a Ravens defense.
That's exactly how I would say it.
And not even for a disappointment of the year. You'd expect the 49ers to be up, out, and about. Corona hit everybody hard, but
and then injuries killed them.
That was expect them to be hitting a lot higher than you. It's like the the Rams, after going to the Super Bowl against the Patriots, only losing by 10 points, and then they just were nowhere to be seen the next year. I don't even think they made the playoffs.
If the NFC East Eagles Cardinals weren't so bad, the 49ers might have been my biggest disappointment going from Super Bowl to not even a playoff team. But I do understand injuries. That's why
injuries were a huge part of it, and that's something that I tried letting our crew know.
At one point, they had every offensive starter injured and some second-team guys injured.
And
I'm cutting them a break.
Were hurt, and it's like,
you lose Bosa for the season. That is a big part of your defense.
Yeah, you lose Bosa, you lose all your running backs, you lose any starting wide receivers you had, you lose your quarterback, and it's like, what did you expect us to do? Like, man, they just trying out here. They're just trying to survive.
So for my last honorable mention, I'm going Travis Fulgham, one of the lone bright spots of that Eagles offense. To go from an undrafted 2019 to moderately good stats with Carson, with all the quarterback controversy, with all the injuries, you still 600 yards, 4 touchdowns is a moderate improvement. He looked like the wide receiver one at times for that Eagles offense. And even though he did battle injuries, those stats are still moderately good.
Yeah, it was one that I think the bar was set really low for Eagles. Mm-hmm. They've very much in the last few years just taken the wrong wide receivers at every turn. DK Metcalf still on the board. Oh no, we're gonna take this random guy.
Yeah, or we're gonna take Rager.
Aguilar, yeah, or Rager. Yeah,
Arcega Whiteside.
Yeah, exactly. It's who are these people? They're has-beens, never will be's. That you're like, what was your thinking here? And it could be.
I don't know about that because Aguilar's looking pretty good, and
he's looking
Oakland
good
right
in
now.
Oakland, yeah. But yeah, so that's all we got for the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, leave a comment with what you guys think that we should have done instead, or maybe we got some wrong. Your thoughts on who you would put in these spots. Give us a like, give us a share, follow the Facebook and Twitter. Everything you do helps us. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, do that and hit the bell. Doing that gives you a notification every time a video goes live, and it's just a lot easier that way. If you really are intent on watching us, it just makes it super easy. Just hit the bell, and as soon as the video goes up, you'll get a notification, and you can watch it as soon as it goes up. Mm-hmm. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in, joining us, supporting us, and have a wonderful day.